Hello, Leo. Welcome to your astrological horoscope and tarot card reading for November 2022. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jane, just to quickly introduce myself. So we are moving officially into November of 2022. October was an incredibly eventful month, and now that we are making a transition into November, after the eclipse on November 8th, things should start to sort of subside a little bit. Now for these readings, like we did last month, I have two different segments. The first segment is going to be a tarot card reading, which is purely intuitive, and the second segment is going to be an astrological horoscope. Thank you all so much for the amazing feedback that I received last month on those as well. And some people like to watch the astrology portion first. So if that's you, then you can absolutely click on that timestamp down below, and then you can go back and watch the tarot card portion after if you prefer. Now, you can watch these readings for your sun, moon, or rising sign, although just know that the rising sign is going to be a little bit more accurate in terms of all the house placements of the transits. Timestamps for each segment will be found in the description box and the comment thread down below for easy access. And also down below in the description box and comment thread, there will be information regarding how to access the comprehensive readings. So let's go ahead and get into this for the month. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you in just a sec. Hello, Leo. Welcome to your November 2022 tarot card reading. So let's go ahead here and get started. Now the cards I'm pulling out first, it's from a very intuitive deck. So we're just going to kind of open up the channel here with this. So let me see what comes through here. Okay, I'm kind of seeing the energy of a rocket. And the thing with a rocket is it's so incredibly powerful. And it's very difficult for people to keep up. That's what I'm hearing. It's like so hard for people to keep up with you right now. You seem to be fixated on what it is you want, fixated on certain outcomes, fixated on certain projects. And maybe there is a little bit of obsessiveness going on, which can be helpful in terms of accomplishing things. Sometimes we do need to be a little obsessive and fixated in order for us to complete something. I just really don't think that they don't have access to you right now, Leo. Now, obviously, the people who you love and the people that you want to have access to you, they will, but I feel like that circle is very small. And with your goals, with your dreams, with what it is that you're wanting, you seemed more determined now than ever. And maybe there is something that you feel like you need to prove. And maybe it's not even to yourself. Maybe it is to yourself, but it's also not to yourself either. Maybe there is someone else that you need to prove it to. Maybe it was someone that hurt you, that traumatized you, that put you through something, or that made you feel less than in any way, shape, or form. And because of that, the time has come for Leo to say, you know what? I'm not what that person told me that I was. I'm not what they made me believe I was. So I'm going to carve my own path. I'm going to be a trailblazer here, and I'm going to go after it. And not only am I going to go after it, but I'm going to get it. And I feel strong determination. And I think your sights are set very high. Like, it's not like you're shooting for something low, like some low hanging fruit. You're going for the big things. There are things that you don't want to regret on your deathbed, right? Maybe that's what it is with Jupiter now back in Pisces, which activates that 8th house. Sometimes with the 8th house, we are forced to think about our own mortality. And we think about what we want to achieve and accomplish while we are alive. So this represents, what the universe needs from you. So the fact that you're getting death says quite a bit. Leo, I'm very drawn to this flower here. I often say that our lives is like this infinite blossoming rose, right? Where it just keeps blooming and new layers keep unfolding and it's just constantly blossoming all the time. But there is a time when sometimes those outer layers, they have to fall off and they have to make way and give room to the new layers that are trying to blossom from the center. And Leo is following their heart like they often do. And I do think that because of this process, because you may be going through a purge or a release, an upgrade, whatever you want to say, because you are going through that, you're not very accessible to people right now. This is a vulnerable process, one that very few people can accompany you on. So you may be a little bit in your private world through a lot of November, especially since Scorpio season is highly active with the sun, which will be in Scorpio, 4th house activation until the 22nd. So between the 1st and the 22nd, I do think that you're going to really just want to be in your own private world as much as you possibly can, where the desire to really go out and to be social and to connect with people just really might not be the most enticing or the most exciting thing. You may just need this time to really recharge. And if you do feel like you need that, then please, by all means, take that time. Now, the next card is going to represent the environment and who you need to be aware of in your environment. We have a Knight of Swords. Now, the Knight of Swords is going in that opposite direction there. And he is somebody that is... I do like this card in this deck. I don't get the same feeling that I normally get with the traditional Rider-Waite deck. He does give me the energy of at least an honorable person. Like, this is a good person still, and yet they are moving away from you. They are leaving to some degree. They are either intimidated by the requirements that your death process require, right? Because when you're going through a death process meaning you're changing, you're becoming someone else, you're growing. Like I say, you're like on this rocket ship, and which means you're not accessible. You're moving too quickly, and you are fixated and obsessed about certain goals. And if that means that a certain aspect of you needs to be left behind, then so be it. And I do sense a little bit of an edginess with Leo right now, that they may be a little sharp with people. Communication may be very blunt and brutal, especially when Mercury comes into Sagittarius on the 17th of November. We're going to have that Sagittarius no filter fire sign, direct in your face communication style. You are a fire sign, so that's going to be amplified even that much more. And I don't think this person can really take the heat. They can't take the brutal honesty. They can't handle the fact that you're moving on without them. They can't handle the fact that that for all intents and purposes, you're making improvements and they're not. And maybe they've tried, because again, I do see that this is a good and an honorable person, but I'm also sensing them being humbled when it comes to you. Like, if you two were to stand together and you were going to do a comparison, they would be schooled real quick, right? And they would be very humbled and maybe take a hit to their pride a little bit. And maybe that's why they're not really coming into your life right now, because in comparison, they don't measure up and they know it. Okay? They don't measure up and they know it. So let's see. What else does Leo need to know for November 2022? Leo for November 2022. Seven of Swords. Eight of Swords, King of Cups. Now, Seven of Swords, Eight of Swords. I feel like when you're coming into November, there's a lot going on in your mind. You may even be trying to juggle a lot of things. Anything that you can do to make sure that that rocket is continuing to go up. But I think you have a soft spot for this Knight of Swords. That's the problem. You have a little bit of a soft spot because you are still a Leo after all. All fire signs have their like little gooey center in there. Like we know that gooey center. We get it. I think you do have a soft spot for this Knight of Swords, and even though you know that they can't keep up with you, even though you know that they're not on your level, or that there's an incompatibility, or that you're in two completely different places in life, or even though you know that, there is a part of you that may want, and this is maybe intuitive and may not necessarily be operating in your conscious chatterbox mind. Like it may not be like how your mind talks to you. It may not be happening like that. It may be happening more subconsciously, where there's a part of you that knows that there's a very significant mismatch. And there's a part of you that knows that if you want to keep this person in your life, then you're going to have to come down, and subconsciously you may be considering it. Do I think you're going to do it? No. No, I do not. But I think there's a seed there. And this is a part of you that has probably been nurtured over the years, that you've allowed to be nurtured, that you've nurtured within yourself. The one that is always so generous for others. But I just simply don't know that this person can be the support and offer you the validation that you are really, really needing. And maybe for whatever reason you really want it from this person, but they genuinely cannot give it to you. I think there's jealousy a little bit. And maybe not they may not be jealous of you, but maybe it's not even really jealousy. Maybe it's just a little bit of resentment toward themselves. Because they're like, well, if I only worked harder, or if I only, had X, Y, or Z, or if only this, or if only that, so they're kind of doing a lot of internal cycling, which maybe is not the healthiest thing for them, but I think they are. They're doing a lot of internal cycling. And you want to be there for that. Maybe you won't say that and they don't know that, but I think in your heart of hearts you do. And that King of Cups is the emotional strength that you hold. It says, even though maybe I want to do that, I'm going to keep myself focused on me, because I can't have people around me that can't figure out how to lift themselves up when they are not at any significant disadvantage. Like, we're not talking about someone who doesn't have skills or talents, or, this person most likely doesn't have a significant disability, or, they don't have like a valid excuse really, other than they can't get out of their own head, or they're too victimized by their traumas and they haven't done proper healing work. Now, I'm not saying that stuff is their fault. Obviously, no one's traumas is really their own fault. But there does come a point when we have to say, like, I know this stuff happened to me, but, I still have to be responsible, and I still have to live a good, high quality life. Like, unless I do want to be a victim my whole life. And I don't think this person really does want that, but that's what they're trying to reconcile within themselves. And that's not something that you can really help them with. That's the thing about the healing journey is, while we don't have to do it alone, we kind of do have to do it alone. Like no one can go into our brains and flip on all the switches, you know? So anyway, this is an unfortunate situation for Leo, but you're also so much looking toward making your dreams come true with that Nine of Cups. Like you're on a track to make sure that all of your hopes and wishes become a reality. And you're on a track and you're starting to see it, and you're starting to see things manifest, and you're starting to get that improvement and that ascension and the upgrades, and you're starting to become the type of person that you always wanted to be. Three of Wands, a card of prosperity and wealth. What else for Leo for November 2022? And Six of Cups. I feel that there may be, I'm definitely feeling a childlike quality. I'm definitely drawn toward the flowers here again with the flower there. There is something beautiful blossoming for Leo. And actually, as Saturn leaves Aquarius in March, between now and March, I actually do feel that Leo may start to feel things lightening up, especially if you have your planets in the latter degrees of Leo, because you went through a Saturn retrograde. I'm sure you felt that. Or you're starting to feel that energy leave, that heavy, disconnected strain, even though you may not have had a source of that. Things may have just felt strained, but things are starting to ease up, things are starting to blossom, things are starting to work out, the processes are going to start going more smoothly, the people are going to line up more with less effort, okay? And I like the quality of being given a gift with the Six of Cups. And I do feel that Leo is going to be given some kind of a gift. And I don't know where that's going to come from or from whom that will come. But I am seeing rather a gift coming to Leo. So that could be something like a job offer. It could be smaller than that. It could be a gift of just being validated in some way. I'm not quite sure. Let's see if we can get a little bit more information with the bottom row. But Leo is going to be given a gift. And I think when that gift arrives into your life, you're going to feel more secure in your decisions, because right now you may be doubting. You know, you may have that, am I doing the right thing? I don't really know. I don't know if I'm playing this right. Am I giving up too early? That kind of thing. So you may be running that narrative with that Seven of Swords and the Eight of Swords. You may be wanting a little bit more concrete truth for what is to come, or what the most likely outcome is going to be out of this scenario. But I'm telling you that by this person leaving your life, or this energy going by the wayside, whatever it is, by this person not showing up for you, that in and of itself may be the gift. Because when you realize that you're free from this, this may be an aspect of your own purge. But when you realize that you're free from this, you realize that you're free from a lot of other things. And when you have that sense of freedom, your rocket can go higher and faster. You don't have all that baggage weighing you down. Ten of Coins. All right, Leo, what else for your tarot reading? Last two cards for Leo for November 2022. The Lovers, beautiful. And we have the Fool. Well, I really like the major arcana at the last part of this reading, because I feel like as we enter into Sagittarius season, you are going to really start feeling like things are coming together. And you're going to start feeling the lightness, because this is a very heavy feeling. It can feel exhaustive and oppressive, but I mean, who can argue? The 10 of coins, the lovers, the fool, these are three incredibly beautiful, happy, enthusiastic, warm, like welcoming cards. Like you definitely have something to look forward to. For those of you who are looking for new love, like if this was a lover, because we have lovers, it's likely that the universe will replace that one with someone fairly soon. And I don't mean like necessarily in November. I mean, although it might be, but it may be like within the next 6 months or so. And right now you may not even be able to think about that or even consider that, or even maybe it even makes you sick to think about that. Now, not all of you are here for love. So again, this doesn't have to be a love story, but whatever the situation was with this person who's really no longer in your life, or who needs to take a break, or whatever the case is, if they're really leaving, the universe is going to fill in that gap really fast. We have the gift. Like I say, when that person leaves, the gift can arrive. And some of you, this person has already left. So the gift is likely on its way, like really, really on its way. And it is something that's going to make you happy. And it is something that's going to instill a greater sense of power within you. It's going to instill a greater sense of accomplishment. And like it's going to make you feel more like it's possible. More like it's possible. Yes, there could be substantial financial increase for some of you. Absolutely. There could be substantial progress. I'm sorry, I don't know why that word escaped me, but there could be substantial progress. So if you have a project that has been lingering or ongoing for any reason, this is likely going to be the time when you start getting close to that finish line. You're going to understand that this person's influence in your life probably hindered you a lot more than it helped you. And that maybe you are better with someone else or on your own, whatever the situation is. You're better off. So now I want to pull out the clarifiers. So the clarifiers are the cards we will cover in the comprehensive reading. I'm not going to do the whole spiel right now, but we're going to talk for another 25 to 30 minutes about all these cards. All the ways to access the comprehensive reading will be found in the description box in the comment thread down below. So make sure you read through it to make sure you select the correct option for what makes the most sense for you. Okay? Oh, geez. I always bump these. They're so like, there we go. All right. They're not perfect, but it's all right. We got the Page of Coins in the reversal. We have Six of Swords reversed. And we have Knight of Swords reversed. Okay. What else for the environment? We have the Empress. We have the Tower. The Tower reversed. And we have the Four of Swords reversed. Okay. Get my other deck here. Actually, let me make sure. Okay, I did put reversals in here. All right, so let's take a look at the Seven of Swords. What else does Leo need to know for November 2022? For Leo, we have the Four of Swords here. Eight of Wands. And the Devil. A lot of conflict with that first card. Judgment, beautiful. Love to see that on top of an Eight of Swords. Queen. Oh, love that for Leo too. Fire energy coming out full force. You will not be a victim of your own mind, that is for sure. King of Cups. Page of Wands reversed. 9 of Wands. What did I say? Leo being really inaccessible right now. We've got the 7 of Coins. Now for the 9 of Cups, which we love, another death card. But we have a Sun card right on top. And the 8 of Swords. The Chariot. Oops, sorry, that's my stool. The 4 of Coins reversed. Another 9 of Cups, beautiful. Now for this 6 of Cups, 7 of Wands. The real gift is that you don't have to fight anymore. I feel like this Knight of Swords may have, I feel like there's something regarding the abundance connection. You know how like, well, I'll talk about that a little bit more in the comprehensive. We'll get more deeply into it. But like the two of you together did not produce a lot of abundance. There was an abundance or a luck or a fortune incompatibility. All right, so 10 of Coins, beautiful with the Emperor. Cups. And the Empress. Another 10 of Coins. 5 of Wands. And the Ace of Swords. No way you could see it coming. Even the Fool here has a blindfold on. No way you could see it coming. Queen of Cups. 2 of Wands reversed. And last card for Leo for November 2022, Queen of Coins. Okay, so this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So again, all that information found in both the description box and the comment thread down below if you want to join. Just make sure you read through to select the proper option for you. And that's it. All right. Thank you all so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have a fantastic month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, Leo. Welcome to the Astrological Horoscope portion of the November 2022 reading. So let's dive in and take a look. So we start the clock. Now I have this set for November 1st. And this, of course, we have to just talk a little bit about what happened in the last week of October as we make our way into November. So October 25th, we had the new moon eclipse in Scorpio, 2 degrees of Scorpio. And this was a significant activation in your 4th house. Now, the 4th house is a really private house and has a lot to do with our home and our family and our inner world and our healing process and dealing with our ancestral karma. And so I do think that Leo has had to truly confront all of the ways that they have been maintaining or perpetuating, rather, the ancestral karma rather than breaking it. And I'm talking about the more negative karmas, like the negative financial karma and the negative abusive karma and all that kind of stuff. And whatever you are dealing with and whatever you are needing to stop perpetuating, this is really a time in this whole year, probably since this time last year when we had the first set of eclipses in these signs, really coming to a head and saying, okay, this really needs to stop. Now, when we have the creative nature of a new moon mixed with an eclipse that's along the south node or associated with that south node, because the south node has a lot to do with like decrease or depletion or things being sucked away or taken away. There's an element of sacrifice a little bit that goes there too. So a creation, how do we kind of work with these two concepts? Well, creation through destruction. We create by disassembling the obstructions. We create and regenerate and rebirth ourselves through the process of eliminating a lot of the toxicity and a lot of the things that absolutely do not work. Now, in traditional astrology, the fourth house is deeply connected with the father, which is not the most intuitive. We also often associate it with the mother because Cancer is the fourth sign, and Cancer with the moon rulership is associated with the mother, but it depends on which school of thought you go with. So I'm just going to say parents. There is likely some deep connection with the parents going on here, all right? And if you do not have a healthy relationship with parents, it is probable this particular eclipse was a step forward. May not be this huge event that happens. It may just be you just go through it. You barely even notice it, and yet still you are detaching away from that karmic influence that your parents perpetuated onto you, right? So there is absolutely a breaking of the karma here. Now, as we make our way into November, we're obviously deep into this eclipse cycle. Here is the moon waxing. It's sitting in Aquarius here, and then it's going to be making its way into Taurus on November 8th. And this full moon total eclipse is conjunct, like exactly conjunct Uranus. All right, so this Uranian influence truly, now the moon is unstable, Uranus is unstable, and the North Node is very unstable. So we have these like three really volatile planets coming together. Well, of course, the North Node's not a planet. People always give me crap for that. I always just say it because it's easier. North Node is a point, okay? But all these three placements, these things, these entities coming together in extremely stable Taurus in your 10th house, which is a house that is, really dedicated toward like it has a lot to do with your public view, how the public see you, your reputation, but those things are usually established through like a career or what you contribute to society, humanity, or your communities, right? It's a contribution channel. And so I feel that a lot of your trauma with scorpionic energy, your trauma, your pain, and the harsh lessons that you had to learn or are currently learning in your private world are being leveraged into certain degrees of success in terms of your contribution to humanity. All right, so there will be some kind of a revolutionary something that happens. Now, again, it may not be this loud experience, it may not be groundbreaking in your life, but I feel that you are breaking through a particular degree of comfort, and you're pushing past that comfort zone substantially. And that road may be a little bit rocky because you are navigating in unknown terrain or unknown territory. Plus, we also have Mars in retrograde here, which doesn't necessarily bring out the smoothest stuff. But you have to push past something. You have to perpetuate goodness into the world. You have to contribute something that is positive and beneficial and valuable, right? Because Taurus is all about value. And so you may actually be working through significant traumas regarding a sense of self-value as well. And saying, okay, well, if I was made in any way, shape, or form in my past and in my private experiences in my home life, If I was made to ever feel less than what I truly am, this is me making up for it. And it's not in a false, overcompensating kind of way. This is in a way that is real and authentic and pure and will help inspire others to follow suit and to do the same. Now, this could be through anything. Like, let's say you are a financial advisor. Like, I'm not saying that you're all of a sudden going to become this great motivational speaker, but maybe you became a financial advisor because you had significant wounding with money. And so you had to work your whole life to work through that. And now you get to help educate people how they don't need to be a victim to their pain. And you may do that on a one-on-one level or a one-on-one basis, but you're still making a positive contribution and you are helping people. So it doesn't have to be such a magical thing. It is not going to be this magical revolution in your life. It's just maybe you start approaching things differently, and maybe there's a lot more exposure in your work. Maybe you're not as afraid to show the real you and to share your story and to share your pain, right? And to relate with people in that more real and authentic more authentic kind of way, which ultimately will lead to greater success. So these are powerful eclipses for everybody, but especially for the fixed signs, which have these in the angular houses, right? The 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th houses. And then we also have Mars going retrograde, like I mentioned. This officially went retrograde on October 30th. So, it's just kind of getting started going in that retrograde direction. And in the 11th house, 11th house is kind of interesting. There's a lot of different facets to it. There's the friend and association and the clubs and the groups of people that you belong with. But Mars is such an independent planet, and he's so much about the self. And he is concerned with connecting with people. And maybe there is a reconsideration with how you are connecting with people, and maybe the desire to be more one-on-one with people is getting stronger, that maybe that is a way that you revisit your career. How do I really connect with individuals? And even though maybe you have a job where you work with a big, like maybe you're a trainer, like a sales trainer, and maybe you have a whole group of new salesmen that you have to come in and train. But I think the real satisfaction for you is going to be found in discovering how you impact an individual. How do you impact a single person, and how is that different from how it impacted another person? And that's going to help to really feed you to know how that is happening. And so you may revisit a little bit. Instead of like you blending into a big group of people, you may be wanting to be more individualized and have more individualized experiences. There's also a financial component to the 11th house, and it has a lot more to do with the gains that you have on your investment. So if you have, a stock portfolio and the markets go up, obviously your stocks, hopefully they'll all go up, maybe not all of them, but generally speaking, maybe this whole portfolio increases, and that's your gain, right? Or you have a real estate investment and the market goes up, so there's a gain on that investment. So this is about your gains, and this is how the wealthy generally get very, very, very wealthy. 11th house, that's where this comes through. So maybe thinking about your wealth a lot more, maybe thinking about your investments. If you don't invest, maybe this is a good time to learn how. I'm not telling you to go broke doing it, okay? You can be smart about it. You can get a course, or you can do whatever you need to do, but learn a little bit about it. Learn about it, read about it, and get started. Now, if you're already a pretty advanced investor, this may be a great time to think about what you can do to enhance your portfolio, to increase your gains even that much more. But I don't know that I would say fully commit to stuff. I'd say this is a good time to dabble or to research or to examine. I think the real time to pull the trigger will be after the eclipses especially, but I would also still wait until probably next March, or maybe Capricorn Aquarius season. Mars will at least be going direct. He'll still be in shadow phase, but at least he'll be going direct. And that's better than the retrograde, okay? Because usually when things happen during a retrograde, they can be short-lived. So they can be short term and they may not have the amount of gain that you're ultimately hoping. So that's something to think about. Now we had Jupiter coming back into the 8th house, coming back in October. He'll be going direct on November 23rd. He's barely moving throughout November. He's only going to move about 1 degree because he's slowing down with his retrograde. And then on the 23rd, he begins to go direct again. Now, he is going to go direct and move through Aries very, very quickly, about 5 months, not even 5 months. He's going to move very quickly through Aries, and then he's going to enter into Taurus, which is going to be an incredible lift for Leo regarding their careers, right? A lot of the things that may be brewing now or that you're just sort of planted seeds, it's likely that they will start to bear fruit next spring and summer and on into autumn with Jupiter in the 10th. All right, it's going to be a highly advantageous transit for Leo. We also had Saturn and Pluto move direct in October, so this is old news. But now, Leo, you're kind of on the chopping block here because Pluto is coming into your 7th house. But it's not just that it's coming into the 7th house, it's that it is crossing over the descendant, which is the 7th house cusp here. And as it crosses over the descendant, again, it's going to activate your angular houses, 7, 10, 1, and 4. Right? So this is all about relationships. This is career and public life. This is the self and the body, and this is your home life. So 4 very important departments of our lives, okay? Our lives. So we have that going on. And I think you're going to feel this intense desire because Pluto does bring out intense desire. You're going to feel this intense desire to reinvent and to regenerate and to push yourself to extraordinary limits to really succeed. And you are going to have certain connections and certain partnerships that come into your life over the next 20 years. I'm not saying it's like a whole 20-year period of terrible stuff. Not at all. Don't be scared about that transit. But what happens is when a planet comes into opposition with some of our main placements, it sort of illuminates us. And it casts a shadow or light, whichever way, onto us. And I think for you, especially if you have your sun or your ascendant in Leo, this will be a little bit more prominent because that sun kind of sheds light on the Pluto and Pluto reflects back, kind of like if you can imagine like a moon energy, if you will. So Pluto is going to show you via other people, so through relationships and connections, it's going to show you your real power. All right. And that can be a difficult growing process. Just ask Cancer. They just went through it. Okay. It can be a really difficult growing process. But what happens is you actually get to see the best of yourself by casting light on the worst of yourself and leveraging the worst so that you can truly access the best. Now, when I say the worst, again, I don't necessarily mean your life is going to be ripped apart, not at all. But what I do mean is that you are going to have to confront the most fearful, the most insecure, the most entitled, the most selfish, like any negative trait that you can think of, you're going to have to access that within yourself. Right? You're going to have to realize that to a degree that exists. Now, it may not be expressed. You may not be expressing those things, but it's there because we are whole and complete beings, which means we have the capacity to be extraordinary carriers of light or extraordinary carriers of darkness, and that we actually have both. And that's what makes us whole and complete beings, right? And so Pluto is going to show us that so that we can choose the light and to choose it much more consciously on a daily basis, which makes it that much more powerful. And I don't know firsthand because I haven't personally gone through this yet. My time is coming up later on. When it comes into Pisces, I'll be going through this as well. But for now, I think this is actually a time for Leo to really shine. And I know we always say that about Leo because you're ruled by the sun, but I think Saturn and Pluto, Saturn being the traditional last planet and the traditional ruler of death and darkness. And then in the modern world, now we have Pluto. So Saturn and Pluto are very similar to a degree, and they often represent similar things. And so we have the light versus the dark. And there's going to be a perpetuation of that when Pluto comes into Aquarius. So, it'll be an interesting transition because not only will Pluto come over the descendant, but also Saturn is going to come into that 8th house as well. So I do know that Leo is going to probably have to access their nastiest stuff that's going on in there. But it is for the sake of purge and release. And ultimately, Saturn does bring death, and the 8th house is very much about death. It's about letting those things be eliminated. When I say eliminated, I actually mean more deeply integrated. Eliminated, probably not the best word, but to be more deeply integrated so that you become a more whole and complete person. You stop demonizing these aspects of yourself. This is like real shadow work. And I don't know that it's the shadow work where you're in the corner in the fetal position crying because you're in so much pain and there's so much release. It's not like that kind of shadow work, although that may have happened or may happen, but it's more owning it, where you take ownership of it, right? When you allow the battle of light and dark to take place within yourself, and you get to be the best of both, because that makes you a much more relatable person. It makes you a much more a better healer. It makes you a better teacher. And again, with all this emphasis on the career, this will likely be stuff that is implemented within your career. And this is maybe one of the reasons why, or this may be one of the things that you use to contribute to society. We'll talk more about that in another video, but I'm preempting everybody now since officially Saturn and Pluto are going direct. So we're starting to see that energy come online as it gets closer and closer and closer to those markers, meaning the cusp of Pisces and the cusp of Aquarius, and they start to move in. We're going to really, really feel that more and more. So we're preparing, bracing ourselves for that. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much, Leo. I love you. I hope you have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.